written by a man who uses Visine. It was a Sunday, much like any other Sunday. I was kicking back, relaxing from a long week of work, knowing that I had to head back in about 10 or 12 hours for another rough night at the factory. I guess I could add a bunch of other details about my otherwise mundane life, but I know you couldn't frickin' care less, so I'm going to cut to the chase here and just keep things simple. Despite being a factory worker and a high school dropout, I was a ginormous fan of Fraiser. Yeah, I know. All the upscale, intellectual, highfalutin, dry, aristocratic humor or whatever, for some reason, it tickled my funny bone. I totally watched the shit up in the 90s, and a few years later I owned all the DVDs that were out. Maybe if the show had more explosions, I'd look for some Blu-rays too. But hey, all kidding aside, as I said before, I was a pretty big fan of Fraiser. That was before back around summer 2007, I found a 3-episode Fraiser DVD on the shelf of my local Blockbuster, kind of hidden behind some other TV show DVD case. I don't remember which one it was. Doesn't matter. The text on the side of the box was faded, and the ER at the end where it says Blockbuster on the front, maybe it was an ER VHS, was all scratched and faded out. Blockbust? What the hell was that supposed to mean? And what the hell is Blockbuster? What was that? Like some old place where you rented VHS tapes? What? Redbox. Anyway, the side text clearly said, Fraiser, the Harvard Vaults. I assumed it was a bootleg or some other kind of fan-made shit that somehow made its way into the inventory, but I checked it out anyway. No problem. The cashier said something about the label looking old, and really, that was all she had to say. The DVD was mine. For a 5-day rental anyway. So when I came home to my crappy old bug-infested apartment, I popped in the DVD hoping for another 10 or 20 laughs before it was time to hit the old sack and go back to the old grind at the factory. Assembling shoes. Nothing was out of the ordinary. The DVD menu was just Dr. Crane with a quirky smile on his face and his arms outstretched. Hey, whatever. It worked for me. Then I clicked my way to the episode listing. The titles were Fraiser's Finest Christmas, Mr. All-African-American, and The Truth About Eddie. I was immediately curious about the first episode, given that the title suggested that something big had happened. So that was the episode I chose. Nothing on the screen, just a bunch of blackness. Whatever. Can't say I was too surprised, given how the old box looked and all. Then about 25 to 30 seconds in, I got an error message, and that was when things started getting a little, out of the ordinary. Your DVD is cracked, and so are you. That was the message that displayed on the screen. It sure as hell wasn't the message I usually got when a DVD didn't work, but I figured that the DVD may have customized itself somehow. I went up to get up and eject the DVD, but then the message just went away. Okay, I thought. Cracked might mean like psychologically, when you start to feel a little crazy, and Dr. Crane was a psychiatrist, so after thinking about things for a few seconds, I actually thought it was kind of funny. After another 5 to 10 seconds of blackness, we got a video of Fraiser's usual apartment. Something seemed off. There wasn't any conversation, any real action. It was just Fraiser with his head down on a piano. He was making muffled noises that seemed like tears, not funny-sounding ones or anything either. Yet his head wasn't moving at all. It was sternly down on top of the piano. All right, I thought. I guess this was pretty easy to make. Some college kid probably quickly edited some footage from the show together and called it a day. That was my voice in the 90s. The crying stopped, and then there was a knock on the door. "In! Come!" was said. Income. But it definitely wasn't in Fraiser's voice, and it definitely sounded like some kind of Frankenstein or something. The door opened, and in came Fraiser's dad, Martin, holding his usual cane. "Get up, you lazy old knucklehead. Bet you had too many margaritas or whatever you well-to-do are sipping these days on your way to the goddamn Wall Street Journal stand." Canned laughter was heard. Following that, Fraiser lifted his right hand and slammed all of his fingers against some piano keys, doing it entirely without grace and with his head still entirely down. No sound was heard from the piano, strangely enough. "You're still all gloom and doom about your failed experiment, aren't you? You gotta cheer up, man. Relax about the whole thing. Go out and get some air." That was obviously an awkward line, but it was nothing compared to what I heard next. Fraiser stumbled in the same Frankenstein voice we had heard just moments ago. Can't go out. Can't go out. What? Why? I thought. I was British, too. Psh! Martin waved. You know, in the face, Larry had half his face shot off. Looked like Two-Face, too. You're having a bad day, you can at least accept that not everybody has the same kingly standards as you do, your Royal Highness. Fraiser finally lifted his head up, turned around, and I'm going to be honest, I screamed like a little schoolgirl. There was nothing there. His face was just a void. No eyes, maybe the top half of his forehead and chin, and otherwise black, pure black. No light, just black, no features, just void. I paused the DVD, turned off the TV for a minute or two, and took some deep breaths. In and out, in and out. It's funny, really. It was just a TV show, yet my heart was racing and the sweat glands were going off like I was still in puberty. Good news is that the rational thought kicked in sooner rather than later. Okay, I thought. As legit as this episode seemed, perfectly synced audio and video, and the set looked exactly the same as it did on the show, this may just have been an elaborate dub or something. I lit up a fag, that means cigarette, took a few puffs. Maybe this was just a Halloween episode, I thought. Clever they call this a Christmas episode too, maybe that's part of the joke. Damn, I felt like such a chicken brain. Never so gullible and before in my entire life. I put out the cig, turned the TV back on, let out a chuckle at Fraiser's outer space head, and unpaused. And then I realized I wasn't just watching a Halloween episode. There was about 5.5 minutes of giddiness and applause. Not steady, not static, but up, down, sometimes like a cry, sometimes cough, like some kind of bizarre punk rock canned laughter symphony. The camera zoomed in and out on the void, and as the fanfare faded, brightly burning red letters filled the emptiness on the screen, panned out to be unmistakably clear. Fraiser's head is cracked, and so are you. My skin suddenly felt awfully dry, despite all the immediately recent perspiration. Still, I've skinned enough articles in my time about how impressionable the human psyche is. Fuck this DVD and fuck whatever this Christmas is supposed to be. I hollered to my forgotten. It's turned the disgusting thing off, and it's stuck in its putrid old case and went back to make my bed. It was a long night. Won't surprise you, but I couldn't get to sleep. But it wasn't just a matter of being scared. It was like a trance. I just couldn't get that episode of Fraiser off my mind. I laid in the bed, in this trance-like state, for hours. Before I knew it, it was maybe 90 or 100 minutes away from having to get showered and dressed and ready for my Monday shift. And instead of steel-toed boots, machines, grinding noises, and my asshole boss, all I could think of was Fraiser's empty head. An Ivy League brainiac, now without a brain. Then I thought about my mother. And I thought about sex for a little bit. And then I put the DVD back on and fast-forwarded... through a few more minutes of what I assume was emphatic laughter and Martin yapping at Fraiser for being a snooty upper-class individual. The scene changed to that of a basement. Funny, because I'm damn sure the Fraiser's apartment doesn't have one. Hell, I've never met an apartment that did. I've never met an apartment at all, as it's not a person. There were cobwebs, spiders, dimly lit steps, I'm guessing to supply the Halloween feeling. Still doesn't make sense, given there's no way Fox would have ever aired this. And I don't think Fraiser was on Fox. And then there were vials full of blood. Vials, like vial, like something that's vile, full of blood. And saliva, randomly hued chemicals, and I'm guessing semen. Lots and lots of semen. You know you fucked your mother down there, right? What the fuck? This didn't make sense. Fraiser's mom passed away years ago. Anyone who knows anything about Fraiser knows that. And Martin doesn't say fuck. And Fraiser doesn't have a void head. He doesn't have a basement. He doesn't sound like Frankenstein. He certainly doesn't have sex with his mother, I think. Father, show comes. Alright, you can pretty much slap the senseless at this point. Slap me senseless at this point because there was a corpse in a test tube with the letters Hester written in what looked like sperm right below on a plaque. Hester, of course, is the name of Fraiser's long-deceased mother. Whatever bind this show had on me, it was tightening its grip on me like Superman on a hamster's head. My face felt dry. I ran my fingers down it, and I felt cracks. The show was cracked, and so was I. I don't know how. It was just a DVD. Logically, I should have been able to dismiss it as some sort of college prank. I could have gone about my way, bought some chapstick. I brushed my fingers against my face again. It seemed like less of it was there. Chapstick all over my face. I knew I couldn't go out like that. Chapstick, chapstick, chapstick.